So today I'm going to take a poorly lit cell phone video instruction on how to refurbish a E39 factory amp with a junkyard factory amp that doesn't necessarily match the one that you need for your car. So I had a water leak dribbled down onto the connectors, ruined my amp, or so I thought. Had trouble finding the part. Part was expensive when I found it. Go to the junkyard, can't find the exact part I need, find the one that's closest, try and plug it in, it doesn't work. After taking them apart with a T10 Torx wrench, these guys are held against this heatsink with these spring-loaded clips, so you pull those out with a pliers, and you actually have to bend these back to make room for this. Don't break them, but bend them back a little bit. You can get them all off. And what I found was this backboard is different from model to model, but this front board's the same. And I also noticed that the damage to mine was primarily on this front board. So if you look, you can see, if it'll focus, get my little flashlight here. And there you go. Little discoloration by the BMW. You can also see some melted connector. So that was from when I was trying to remove the multi-pin connectors, like this guy, that connect us to the main board. So the idea is, on the main board from the one that comes out of your car, you want to preserve these multi-pin connectors. So you're basically destroying these connectors, these wire harness connectors, because you're trying to desolder all of these pins and preserve these pins. This one was all cut off, so basically I took the backing board that I didn't care about and just cut those connectors off so that I could have the board that I wanted to keep, which is now in this one. So from there, basically you end up with your board with these little connectors in place. This guy is off and has destroyed connectors. You take the board that you don't care about and you cut this connector board off of it, and then you pull out all of the pins so that you've got holes that made up with the pins on your board. And if you need to, you can rehab these connectors. The one that I pulled out of the junkyard had a little bit of water damages too, not nearly as severe as this one, but just to be safe, I pulled these connectors off, and actually had a couple of corroded terminals that pulled the conductive material out, so I had to rehab those. If you're not familiar with a soldering iron, this probably isn't the job for you. If you do have to pull the connectors off, this one's got these 2 rivets on it, so you got to cut those. But other than that, once it's all back together, it actually worked. So basically, fixing this board using your circuit hacking skills, which need to be learned elsewhere, you can actually take the board off of one that doesn't match, put it on one that does match, ideally from the car that you just pulled it out of that you thought was broken, and after you replace this, you end up with a fixed amp.